Bear down, Bears fans. Per Ian Rapoport, the Chicago Bears have fired Luke Getsy. What will that mean moving forward for this team when it comes to the quarterback position? We'll talk about all that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe. If you're not liking and subscribing on this, I'm not doing a monologue. We got breaking news, baby. Bears moving on from Luke Getsy. Now, the interesting part about this, Ian Rapoport reports the Bears are making staff changes as offensive coordinator Luke Getsy and members of his staff have been fired per him and Tom Paracello. Chicago now needs 2 new quarterbacks in 2024, but they likely are retaining Matt Eberflus, as reported by Ian Rapoport 1 minute ago, as the defensive play caller, though he's expected to hire a true defensive coordinator. Now he'll hire an OC as well to work with Justin Fields or ... Literally the tweet from Ian Rapoport. And this is big. This is big news because for me, when I look at this Bears team, when I look at kind of, okay, what's the future of this team going to be? Flus as a leader does not excite me personally. I can live with it, but Flus as a leader does not personally excite me heading forward because of the passive mindset that I believe he puts out there. But there's a lot to be said on the positive side, just as much as there's to be said on the negative side. And a lot of the negatives that are in place, we've seen that he has kind of flipped in the other direction, at least in the last 7 games of the season. Okay, Flus is sticking around. That's fine. I can deal with it. Now, the fact that Luke Getsy has been removed from this situation, what happens with Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears here? This is now a time where, to me, the Bears have to really dig deep into this, because are you going to put Justin Fields in his third situation or third offensive scheme in 4 seasons? Are you going to have him learn a new offensive scheme? Are you going to bring somebody in that has an offensive scheme that maybe is more suited to his game and has done this before, more of a Greg Roman type of guy? Can you convince that kind of guy to come to the Chicago Bears if Jim Harbaugh is coming back to the NFL? And we know the connection that they have there. There's so many questions created just by this one firing of Luke Getsy and his staff, but at a minimum, to me, it does say that mediocre is not okay. Guess what? I can dislike Flus. I can dislike Flus as a leader. I can dislike Flus and a lot of the things that his defense did over the course of the season, but at the end of the day, he was a top team in takeaways. He was one of the best pressure rates by the end of the season with Montez Sweat. You brought in a guy who had 6 sacks on 2 teams, and were able to utilize him. All of a sudden, Jalen Johnson is a Pro Bowler. Tyreek Stevenson's an NFL Defensive Player of the Week. You're seeing amazing play out of guys, play in and play out, and you're seeing the Chicago Bears now kind of look at that and say, that's moving in the right direction. You were tops in the NFL. It's something you deserve to stick around because of that. Fine. I can deal with that. On the offensive side, you were bottoms in the NFL at a lot of stuff, and I get it. Listen, there's people that are either want to be Justin Fields guys or Caleb Williams guys, but at the end of the day, I said this a million times, nobody should be a Luke Getsy guy. Luke Getsy's offense was being looked at by former quarterbacks, all around: Chase Daniels, Kurt Warner, who else was in on it? JT O'Sullivan, of course, had his breakdown and did phenomenal this season. Dan Orlovsky, all of these guys that have been in NFL offenses, and every single one of them would look at the film and go, what's he trying to do here? What's the point of this? And for the love of God, I'm just glad, and I pray the next guy that we bring in doesn't do this, because remember, we don't teach small on bigs, right? We don't teach our running backs to block defensive ends and defensive linemen. We don't want to set ourselves set up in that. And yet every single game, just about, we kept seeing plays like that be instituted in the offense. Heck, in the last game, on a 3rd and 1, We're trying to run the football. I think it was supposed to be like a bootleg right, and we've got Tyler Scott trying to block defensive ends on the, like, what the heck are we doing here? It made no sense at a base offense level, and to me, that's why it's good to see Luke Getsy out of the building. And no matter what you do at the quarterback position, you could not put him back in a position where he was going to be the one teaching. Now, here comes the tough part, because to me, I know moving on from Getsy, everybody's going to look at this. And by the way, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Do you like that the Chicago Bears have moved on from Luke Getsy? Are you a fan of keeping Justin Fields, or are you in on Caleb Williams? Here's my thing. And I know a lot of people are like, you're going to have Justin Fields in his third system in 4 years. How can you do that? You have to move on from the quarterback. There's no other option here. It's the only thing that makes sense. I get you. I get you. But what I also will say is, I don't want to continue this carousel. Yes, you're going to have Justin Fields learning a new system, third offense in 4 years. But I don't want to continue this carousel of Matt Eberflus gets his head coach, and then, or Matt Eberflus gets his offensive coordinator. He gets with Justin Fields. They don't work together well. Now we get rid of Justin Fields. Now we bring in a new coach or a new quarterback in a year where more than likely it's a win it or die year. This is going to be very interesting to see. And then you move on from Matt Eberflus because he doesn't win enough, and now we got a new coach with a new quarterback, and he's going to develop this guy. We have to stop this carousel that we've been on for weeks now. I mean, I'm sorry, weeks, years now, right? We're talking about 30 years of this, pretty much this same carousel, and eventually you got to get off the ride. I hope this is the year that the Chicago Bears do. Some names that will be very interesting moving forward for the Chicago Bears, I think, at the offensive coordinator position. One name that immediately jumps out to me is Eric Bieniemy. I would love for Eric Bieniemy to get a head coaching job in the NFL. I don't know why teams kind of look at Bieniemy and go, nah, we don't really feel like you're a fit for the head coaching position. But at a minimum, I know he's a heck of an offensive coordinator. I saw some of the things that he did with Sam Howell. I would love to see him be able to come in here and kind of figure out how to get the most out of whatever the quarterback position is right now. If it is Justin Fields, I think he could get the most out of him. If it is Caleb Williams or Drake May or whoever it is, I believe that he could get the most out of him. And I think that this is a decision that's going to come really fast, because at the end of the day, this is now a team where you have a offensive coordinator who's going to make that decision, in my opinion, right? Because you want to pair up the offensive coordinator with the quarterback that fits best with him. Are you going out and looking for an offensive coordinator to fix Justin Fields, or are you going out and looking for an offensive coordinator to fix whatever the next quarterback is, develop whoever the next quarterback is? And I think that Eric Bieniemy is a really good fit for that, because no matter where we see him go, listen, I don't think Sam Howell's a good quarterback, but I think he played better than any of us thought he played. Right? If he could stop fumbling the football and having bad turnovers, right? Like, but at a minimum, you looked at him and you were like, oh, 4,000 yard. I think he ended up being a 4,000 yard passer, right? Like his numbers on paper look good. And then you look at the actual game and you're like, oh, he's dog water. But I think Bieniemy probably got the most out of what he could in that situation. He'd be a guy that I would heavily look at. Greg Roman, of course, is the name that pops off the chart because of MVP season with Lamar Jackson. Can you do that here with Justin Fields? Could you do that here with who am I thinking? Caleb Williams, if you brought in a Caleb Williams, or if they go a different route, right? Like, it's not like Caleb Williams is the only style of quarterback like that in this draft. Do you get Jaden Daniels? Do you go get, right? Like, there's a bunch of guys that are mobile guys that still have some arm talent as well. And so you really want to have a guy in place, and that's the new model of quarterback. You want to have a guy in place that's going to be able to do both of those things. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the Chicago Bears do at the offensive coordinator position, at the defensive coordinator position. We're going to see what that's going to be as well, because it is expected that Flus is going to hire a DC. Guess what? We're going to talk about all that more in today's daily show of the Windy City Breeze, the long form with everybody in the building. So tune in with us on that as well. Hey, as always, man, Luke Getsy gone. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Let me know how you guys feel down in the comments below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. Peace.